guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Jeannette I'm, and today I did my makeup while I had a little chat with you guys, got ready for the day. Go ahead and get into the video. I'm gonna start with my foundation. Still using the Milani. I like the BB cream, but it's a little shiny, dewy for me. It's really hot outside today, so I'm not down with the shiny. So I'm using the Milani 2-in-1. Just dotting it on my face and patting it on. I wanted to talk about like jobs that I've had before. Just because I've had quite a few different types of jobs, and I think it's interesting, and you learn something at, you know, each different job that you work at. So like for example, I've worked at Marble Slab Creamery, the ice cream place, and yes, I'm addicted to ice cream, especially Marble Slab ice cream. That was my first job in high school. Before high school though, well, before I worked at Marble Slab like officially, I worked at my uncle's fireworks shops. We sell fireworks during the 4th of July time of the year. This is my waist trainer. Whew. So I used to sell fireworks with my uncle. I was really good at selling fireworks, and fireworks are like a huge thing. Like people go out and they spend like thousands of dollars in fireworks. I didn't know that before I started working there. This person on the bike, he's literally, I'm like in a neighborhood. I'm not, like the closest big street is like a ways away, and there's usually not car noise around here. This guy, well, this last time I was at my mom's house, look, it's loud. I don't experience that much loudness from cars here. He must be like right in front of my house, because that's crazy. So anyways, I was saying this last time I was at my mom's house, and this guy was riding a bike like that right by her house. We were in the pool. It was a holiday, and this guy crashed into another car like lightly. The guy on the bike hit the other car. It clipped the guy on the bike and he fell off of his bike. So now when I hear bikes going all crazy like that, it freaks me out. Nothing happened to the guy, at least, but they were out there for a long time, like with the cops, and his like parents came, because it was like a younger guy. His parents came out. It was crazy. It was like a whole show. And it was right in front of my mom's house. Growing up, really big accidents always happened by my parents' house, so it needs to go more that way. Anyways, growing up, we always had really bad car accidents around my parents' house, so my parents would always go out there and help. Besides car accidents at my parents' house when I was growing up, my work, different jobs I've had. So Marble Slab Creamery, that was the funnest job. I was like in high school. All my friends would come, and I used to get so busy. Marble Slab here when it first opened, like the lines would be out the door and like down, like it was crazy. It would get packed all the time. I get sad whenever I go now and it's not super busy. All of our friends would go. We were all in high school, all of the people that worked there, except for the owner. The owner was from India, the country, so he was really cool. I literally, as soon as I turned of age to legally work, I would tell my mom, I'm gonna go get a job. She didn't believe me. I told her, drive me to Marble Slab. They're hiring. And I got hired on the spot. I'm gonna list all the products that I use down below. So after Marble Slab, I started working at Logan's Roadhouse. I was a hostess. My friends had moved on to being waitresses, and I never went into like being a waitress there at Logan's. So I stayed as a hostess, and I was like training other hostesses, taking care of bigger parties, and I took care of this party from a bank. They were having like an award ceremony or something there, and the GM actually came up to me at the end of their dinner, and she was like, I really liked you, why don't you come apply to work at the bank? And I was already out of high school at this point. I had my first baby, Dorian. He was already like 1 year old. So she came up to me and she was like, why don't you apply to work at the bank? And I said, I'm down. I applied and I got hired. I started working at a bank, and it was a bank that was like inside Walmart. That was such a fun job. I loved it. Really good friends there. And I learned a lot. I almost got beat up by a few customers because people are crazy at a bank. And it was like their fault, you know, but they're still crazy. So I learned how to handle crazy situations. Well, at Logan's too, people would get so hangry all the time when they were waiting, and we would tell them, you know, you're gonna be waiting this amount of time, and they'd still be like, okay, put me on the list. And then I was like on super busy days. People used to get hangry because they were like not seated yet. And at the bank, people used to get frustrated when like they would overdraft their account and then they wouldn't be able to withdraw money. So I learned a lot by the bank and Logan's, like how not to act, how to treat people. Once you work in like the service industry, you can never go to a restaurant and treat people like that, you know what I mean? I was working at First Convenience. My baby daddy had moved to Albuquerque. He was working up there, and at some point he was like, hey, one of my cousins, his baby mama, can get you a job at the apartments, and then we can get our own apartment there. And I was like, cool, that sounds like fun. Let me quit my job, move to Albuquerque, and we will do that. So I did. And I moved to Albuquerque. I started property management. I was a leasing agent. I was the best leasing agent of the world. Just kidding. That's the thing about leasing agents though. You always think that you're like the best leasing agent. But I was. So anyways, I worked as a leasing consultant. I covered for my assistant manager because she had a baby, the boy's cousin. Covered for her as an assistant manager, and then we decided to move to Dallas. So in that same company that I was doing leasing for and had been an assistant, they had properties in Dallas area. So I thought, okay, cool, we'll go over there, and then I can get hired with the same property management company. But we got to Dallas, and it was like different. My baby daddy's sister, she worked at a bank. She was like, come work at the bank. And I thought, okay, cool, because I worked at a bank before, and the first bank that I worked at, it was like, it was, you know, inside Walmart, so they didn't have all the different departments like a normal bank does. So I used to do all of the other departments' jobs. I used to open accounts, I used to do it all, apply for loans, all of that. So once I got to a regular bank, like a larger type of company. It was like a freestanding branch. It was pretty far away from where we lived. It was like an hour and a half. Well, you know, it's Dallas, so it's a commute everywhere you work and live and everything. So I used to drive an hour and a half to work. And I didn't really enjoy just being a teller. I wanted to do more. I wanted to be able to help my customer all the way through, and I couldn't because they would have like blocks, like you could only do teller transactions, so I didn't like that. So I told her I'm gonna apply back at a property management. I really liked leasing, so I'm gonna do that. And I applied and I got hired right away and started doing leasing, and it was in Grapevine. And this property was beautiful. It was a beautiful property. It had like fields all around it. It was, a lot of the apartments had been updated and they were like beautiful with a chimney in every apartment. I loved that property. But, so I'm doing a tour and this family is touring because their daughters are gonna go to school in Arlington. So then I'm doing the tour and they're like, is this where the bathtub murders happen? And I was like, what? I was like, I don't know what you were talking about, but I will ask my manager when we get back to the office. Let me take a drink. I'm like, how old was I? I was like maybe 20. Matthew's sister there, and he had like one cousin there, but then that was it. Matthew was working for Time Warner, and I was alone all the time. Dorian, my oldest, was like 2 or 3, so I must have been like 20 already. So I'm like, I don't know about these bathtub murders, but I will ask for you. We get done with the tour, like we got so busy with other stuff, I didn't even ask my manager while they were there about it. They leave and I go into my manager's office and she's like, oh yeah, I'm sorry I didn't tell you, but, and I'm like, I'm not from here, like I don't know what happened here and what has happened, like, you know, what happened years ago. I'm not from the area. And she's like, oh my gosh, yes, this was the property. Somebody murdered these roommates. They were both teachers. Murdered them, threw them in the bathtub. And they called it the bathtub murders. And I was like, where did this, at this point, we are living on property. So I'm like, oh my gosh, where did it happen? Like that property, it was we called 2 phases. So it was like one side of the property was here, and then it was like a street, and then the other side of the property. So it was phase 1 and phase 2. Huge property, huge. And she had told me that it happened on the other side from where I lived and from where the office was, and I was like, oh my gosh, and just crazy, you know, like they never told me before I started there that this had happened. So I was like, oh my gosh. So then I kind of stopped going places. A few things happened to me out there, and I'm just talking about it because I always tell people, because you never know. And I was so naive, and I was young, and I was dumb, right? So I was very like trusting of people. Everybody in Albuquerque had been so nice and welcoming and never had any problems there. So I thought everywhere is like this. Like El Paso's like super nice and friendly. Albuquerque was really nice and good to me. I have a surprise for you guys. Look who it is. Say hi, guys. Oh, she is not talking right now, but she wants to say hi. Hi. Okay, That was a good song. I mean, come on. Again. Okay, go Melissa. I need to finish telling my story before I get lost. Down?
No.
No? Okay. Well, I can't really, I don't know. Give me a moment. Go back into the story right now. What does it smell like?
It smells like watermelon gum.
Yes, Bubblicious. Oh my gosh, that's what it smells like. You're so smart. Okay, I'm gonna stop. I still haven't done my hair, guys. I'm letting it air dry a little bit. Blow dried like the top part, and I wanted to air dry. So, anyways, so I'm out there. It was like the day before I started work at the bank. My Matthew's sister took me to go see where the bank was, so that way I knew where I was going in the morning. On the way over there, there's like a random tollway. I had never been on a tollway before. I didn't know what a tollway was. So we're on the George Bush tollway all of a sudden. And it had a little SUV, a Mariner. We're on this tollway. And all of a sudden you have to pull to the side and pay. If not, you get a ticket, or I don't know what happens. They come get you. I don't know, but you have to pull off to the side and pay, and then you continue on the tollway. So I didn't know, right? So I'm driving, and next scene was like, okay, go that way now, we have to pay. I was like, oh shoot. I, you know, did like a sharp exit. This guy was behind us, like going pretty fast. I accidentally cut him off, and he lost his mind, went crazy. He stopped. I stopped because I was about to cut him off. I noticed he started like honking his horn all crazy, so I stopped. I let him go first, and he's like cussing at me, flipping us off, all this stuff, and I was like, whoa, I was like, I'm sorry, go ahead. No, he goes ahead, right? Pays his toll, whatever. Goes to the other side of the toll. Well, like he advances, you know, past the toll. Then it's our turn to go through the toll. And we pay. He's waiting for us. Got out of his car, has a bat, and he's like, going crazy. So I'm like, I'm just gonna, you know, we paid. It was like our turn to go. We see him out there going crazy, and I was like, I'm just gonna step on it, and you know, I mean, not hit him, because there was like a big space anyway. So I'm gonna hit the gas and just speed off. So I'm like, okay, cool. We go past him. This guy jumps into his car, the fastest jumping into the car I've ever seen. Gets into his car, has a bat hanging out the window, is keeping up with me. It was a little Mercury Mariner. I loved that little SUV. I went everywhere with that thing. Had it for a whole lease. It was brand new when I got it. They had just pulled it up to the lot. Fell in love with it, whatever. I'm going like 100 in my little SUV, like going through cars. This guy is like behind me, keeping up with me, and I'm like, what the hell? Like, Maxine's freaking out. I'm trying to calm her down. She's like on the phone. I'm like, call the cops, call the cops. She calls the cops. I don't know what happened. She ended up calling like Matthew and her man, and we were like, oh my gosh, what do we do? What do we do? They're like, keep driving, just keep driving. I had to like, she was like hyperventilating. She had lived in Arlington, Grapevine, longer than we had, and she you know, watched the news all the time, so she knew about all the stuff that happens out there on the freeways and, you know, just everywhere. It's a higher crime rate area. Don't get me wrong, Dallas is beautiful, but I had some really crazy experiences there. So this guy's chasing after us. He throws something at my car. It hits my car so hard that I'm like, he threw the bat at it, like my car is dented, like I don't know. He ends up pulling off and like exiting. I guess he like had to go because, you know, thank the universe he had to go because we don't know what could have happened. And we pulled off the next exit or a couple exits down, got off to look at the car. The car was perfectly fine, and I was like, oh my gosh, like how crazy. That was the day before I started work at the bank. I had been there maybe a week or a couple of weeks, and after that, started watching the news more, paying a little bit more attention. I used to go running every night there. Maxine, she lives in this beautiful area of Arlington. There's like estates there, and some of the properties have like a lake view. So it's like a bunch of beautiful houses, and then there's like a lake that runs by it. So I would go running and I'd run by the lake. It was so relaxing and beautiful and fun. And then, okay, so I start work at the bank, had that crazy experience driving to the location of where my work was gonna be. So now I'm like pro at tollways, right? I'm like, okay, I know you have to get off and pay. I have to pay to be on this freeway. It's a little weird, but whatever. I became a pro at going through the tolls. I became a pro at like printing out directions because like everywhere, I started with bank and it was like training was like on the other side of the world. Your job's over here, training's back there, the office is over there. And then at every, like after every freeway, there's like a new city. It's like little small cities all bunched up together. So I became a pro and I was like, okay, I'm good now. Like, I know not to cut anybody off. I know that I have to pay. I know where I'm going. Like, I'm good, I'm good. I was one of the only people that spoke Spanish. They used to call me all the time and be like, hey, help us out over here, help us out over there. So I'd be going all over the place. Well, before I even get to training for the bank, it was the last day of training. We had all these materials and everything. I get to the house and you know, it's after work, so it's like 5 p.m. Get home, kick the door open, grab all my stuff. I noticed a car had parked behind me and I thought, oh cool, like they're dropping off the neighbor's kids or something. I go and grab my stuff and then I'm about to walk out of my car with my bag and my binder and everything. There's a guy there. Between, my door's open, there's a guy and then it's me and I'm like, hi, dude, how are you? Can I help you? Something? Like, what can I do for you? He's like, give me your bag. And I was like, oh, no. And I grabbed my bag and I was like, no, like I had makeup in there, I had my social security, I had important documents, I had Dorian stuff. I was like, no, I don't want to. I just thrown my phone, my keys. And he had a little revolver. Said, give me your effing purse. I was like, okay. Gave it to him. He was like a mess. You could tell that he was like high, like not high, but like high, like, I don't know. He was like gone. His eyes were like, and yeah, I gave him my bag. He had pulled out his gun. I'm like, okay, take my purse. I don't care at this point. He runs, takes out, he almost fell when I threw him my bag. Almost fell, he starts running. I took off running to the front door. And I'm like, oh my gosh, the door. I was crying. I was like, oh my gosh, help me. Like, this guy just took my bag, like the key to the house is in there, the key to my car is in there. Help me, call the cops. So we called the cops got there. You know, it always takes minutes for them to get there, and the guy's gone in seconds. So I'm so lucky that he just took my purse, and I've been grateful, you know, ever since then. And it was a very crazy learning experience. That also happened. So that was even before I had started working at the apartments. So now let's go back to the apartments, right? So then I'm working at the apartments. I now know about the murders that took place there. So now if I'm on a tour, I don't get blindsided by this question. And it was still pretty comfortable. I had stopped going to like random places. When I had first gotten to Dallas, I would randomly take off with Dorian and we would go try new parks out. We would go, you know, to the stores just to kind of look around. I stopped doing all of that. Once I got like robbed at gunpoint, I stopped going places really. I would only go places if Matthew was with me, or like if I really absolutely 1000% had to go somewhere. So then I'm working at the apartments. We're living at the property and everything. All of a sudden, there was this party one night, and this guy got shot and he was killed. Sadly, didn't make it. So after that, I said, I'm going back to El Paso. Moved back to El Paso. That property was beautiful. The people that worked there were really cool. I just could not do it anymore. I had too many crazy experiences there, and I came back to El Paso. Then after that, I worked here at another property, and then I moved back to Albuquerque with Matthew after that. So then I worked at another property in Albuquerque, leasing assistant manager. I even got to cover my property manager because she had gone on maternity leave. So I covered her property manager job there, which I thought was really cool. I learned so much. After that, I moved back to El Paso, and maybe I should have made this like just about jobs, not about my whole moving around. I moved around pretty crazily in my 20s. I was all over the place. We were trying to find somewhere, because anywhere you go outside of El Paso, there's more opportunities. Well, there used to be opportunities when you went outside of El Paso, and El Paso was a smaller city back then. It has grown so much. Don't get me wrong, I love El Paso. This is my home. Every time I was gone, I missed it, and I would come back all the time. So I came back, what year was that? 2011? And I've been back ever since. What year is it now? 2020. I had a leasing job here, and then I don't even know if I could say the company name. Started working at a jewelry store in the mall. Don't want to get sued or anything. I loved that company. I never thought working at the mall would be so rewarding. And wait, before I go into working at the mall, so I was leasing at a very popular apartment community here in El Paso, and oh my gosh, the stories that I can tell you from that apartment complex are crazy. Leasing in general, or being in the apartment office, is crazy because you know everything, you know too much. You see all your residents all the time, and you know when they're going to pay rent or whenever they have work orders, and you're constantly dealing with people. And when new people come for tours, it's like new people all the time, and I saw a lot of crazy things at the apartment complex that I was working at. Very crazy things. Learned a lot. Grew up a lot there. I was there for a really long time before I moved on to working at a jewelry store in the mall. One of my coworkers from the complex started working there, and she told me that it was a really good company, that she really liked it and she enjoyed going to work, and you know, it was different. I had been at the apartments for so long that I was looking for something a little different. They're still out there in a spike. Hi, dude. So yeah, so let me know if you guys want another get ready with me with like just apartment complex stories, because it's a whole, that's like a whole other video. I loved my job. It was super fun. Super fun. I met the most beautiful women. We all worked there, and we were all single mothers at one point, and we went through so much together. It was amazing. But yeah, so then I moved on. Hi, Elodie.
Hi.
Went to go work at the jewelry store in the mall. I was able to be promoted pretty fast. I had been there for not a year. It was like, it was almost gonna be a year. Okay. I get my own store, and that was really fun. Oh my gosh, I had never managed a store before, so I was really interested in learning everything. And I had seen my manager at the other mall that I was working at, and I thought, yeah, I can do this. Say hi.
Hi.
Hi. And I was there up until March when the whole COVID situation hit. And then I've been at home for now. They ended up closing our location down due to COVID. The company had taken such a hit that whoever lease was coming up, they started closing down stores. So that was super sad. It was a whole experience. I still might go back and do like shifts here and there. I really liked the company. Just kind of trying to see what to do, you know what I mean? I've worked at so many different type of places, I've learned so much, been to so many. They're all like pretty different jobs. With working in the mall was pretty crazy, because I had never even walked into a jewelry store before. I
haven't seen this before. Can I have some of it?
Yeah, this is a highlight.
Mmm.
So I had never, it was crazy. It was sales at first, and then managing. Open your eyes. Learned a lot, made a lot of really cool connections with customers. Like, people go buy jewelry for a lot of different reasons. I have cried with so many customers, bonded with so many customers, celebrated with so many customers, and I kind of miss it. It was, you would never think that you're gonna go to the jewelry store and, you know, 5 minutes into our conversation, we're both gonna be crying, but that happened to me quite a lot. And
I want some of it.
Okay, close your eye. Boop, boop. Beautiful. Okay, baby girl. I'm gonna go do my hair just off camera. Get this little girl a snack, and I will be right back. Okay guys, I'm gonna be trying the new mascara, the Tarte Surfer Curl Mascara. dude's still out there riding his bike. Going ham with the bike. I'm gonna try on these contacts, but like, I don't remember how to put them on or take them off. And I never had nails like this when I used to wear contacts. So I'm running into a mental block about them because I'm scared. Waiting for my hair to air dry a little bit so I can brush it out and then go over the parts that I don't like. Still, like, I just put the wand on it, so I don't want to really touch it just yet. I'm gonna brush it out, don't worry. Eye color is pretty light, so I think I'm gonna do like a dark, I'm gonna do Diva neck. It's one of my favorite lipsticks. This is the MAC Burgundy pencil. So that's the liner. I'm gonna put on a little bit more blush whenever I wear Diva or the Desi Perkins and Desi Katie one, like that really dark brown plummy. I always have to put on more blush. I feel like it evens it out when you have a little more blush. Ooh, it's the Amrezy Highlight. So good. Oh, that was too much on my chin. Don't worry though, we can fix it. I also have like a spot there, so. The Abh Amrezy Beach Curls Shine and Wave Spray is amazing, and it smells good. It smells so good. I love it. I'm gonna use my favorite Pretty Fresh Hyaluronic Acid setting before I do my eyeliner. I'm nervous about my eyeliner, that's why I'm putting it off doing it. I have my contacts right here. I'm so scared. I got 3. I got Honey. This one's Taylor Blue Gray. DNA Taylor Blue Gray. And then there's Ocean Color. I don't know, I think I might do a contact lens try-on video later because I can't be bothered right now to try on contacts. I need to watch a video first on how these girls put contacts on with nails on because I'm a little scared. I'm gonna just put a little bit of powder here and here and here and here. That was all. I'm liking like the really intense brow bone, so I've been putting lots of highlight there. Camera really quick and I'll be right back. I went ahead and did my eyeliner and lashes off camera. So this is the final look. This guy's still riding his bike. Is this like a new bike or something? Thank you guys so much for watching. Let me know in the comment section down below of any video ideas or video suggestions that you guys have. Other than that, I will see you guys on my next one. Bye!